Hi, this is My Dignity Restored, and my name is Wangu Kanja. And today we are going to look at the consequences of sexual and gender-based violence. We don't need to have things getting out of control. We can actually prevent them from getting there. And the reason why I'm saying this is in my work, I've met with quite a number of situations make me think that we are not sensitive to survivors of sexual violence. And I'll give you an example of where a child has been defiled and then the parents are told and they do not take the child seriously, and then they don't take her to hospital, and after a couple of months they discover the child is pregnant at 10 years. What do you do then? What happens to that girl? What available services are there for her? What can the family, the parents, the family and friends, how can they support that particular individual? Because we need to address most of the issues that come with sexual and gender-based violence, because they are critical, and we actually prevent them becoming more complicated. And we need to speak against sexual and gender-based violence, because if you're affected emotionally, you're affected psychologically and emotionally, then it means if you're an adult, you will not be able to deliver, especially if you're employed or you own a business. For children, for girls, even some boys actually end up dropping off school because they cannot handle the pressure that comes with that particular action. And for me, it took a lot of support from friends later, after it had happened. Friends who encouraged me and told me it's going to be better, and we need to do the same for anyone who has gone through such violations. Looking at, so we've mentioned physical, we've mentioned psychological, we've mentioned emotional. There is what the community expects of us, and that's what, and one of the things is to keep quiet. And by keeping quiet, we are not resolving any issues that might have happened to an individual or individuals, because we know if one individual has been affected, the family is affected and the society is affected. So we need to prevent that one individual being affected by any form of violence, because at the end of the day, there's finances involved. So as a consequence, you use finances that was maybe meant or saved up for something else, i.e. buying a house or investment. You channel those money to get services for the person, or even to get legal support for that person. But if we But if we look at that, then it means as a family or as a society, we need to speak out so that resources that we have saved up or we have planned for are not directed to other unforeseen issues or circumstances, and looking at how long it takes for a person to get well, depending on the intensity or magnitude of the violation, then and who was the perpetrator, the time frame can be long or can be short. So you can imagine. I went through a series of emotions over 12 years, and it has taken me 12 years to address what I went through, and it cost money. And if it costs money, then it means there's a cost implication to every service or every individual you talk to or anyone that you reach out to. So we need to look out for each other, because at the end of the day, it's about the well-being of one individual who makes a family and ends up being a member of the society. And if one person is affected, then all of us are affected. And we need to stand by each other by supporting each other. And if there is a cost implication to it, then it means there's also other consequences that affect people, especially people set up in a family unit. I'll give you an example of if a daughter is affected, then it's not only about the daughter or the son, it's about the whole family. The father will be affected because at some point he'll have to support the girl financially to seek medical services. There is time lost while seeking the services, while trying to help the person recover or start the healing process. And also in the process, there's a lot of tension within the family, and you will find that if the family does not work together or the family is not in this together, then families tend to break. And that's also another consequence of sexual and gender-based violence, because it affects everyone. It doesn't affect one person. And if it affects one family, it will definitely affect the other family. So we need to prevent and we need to speak out against sexual and gender-based violence. We emotionally, as human beings, we are always thriving or looking forward to new things and new experiences, but sexual violence takes away that core thing that makes you an individual, your dignity. When it's taken away, then you don't see your self-worth. And it is important for people to know that looking out for people we love, people we care for, is important, because they need to know that regardless of what happened to them, the emotions that they're going through, the confusion that they're going through, they are a better person, and they can they can rediscover themselves and become even a better person and become a champion, or even help to address sexual and gender-based violence or anything else that they might identify in the community. One of the things that we need to understand is sexual and gender-based violence actually affects men, women, and children. It's not an issue. It's not a women's issue, and it's not a girl's issue. It's a social issue that we need to address. For a very long time, people have had this misconception of gender being women, and that's not right, and we need to correct that. It can affect anyone, regardless of their sex, their age, or their color, or even religion. We know of people who are Christians, who are Muslims, who've at one point or the other been sexually violated. We know and we've assisted survivors of sexual violence from 3 years to 100 years who've been affected by sexual violence. And examples would be examples of excuses that people would actually use is someone might be dressed badly or keeping bad company, and they were walking home late. And for me, these are just things that people tend to use to justify or condone violence. My call to you is for you to speak against sexual and gender-based violence and work towards preventing any form of violence in your family, or in your family, or in where you live, or even in the society. Remember that any information that you share with us is confidential, and we are calling to you to share and subscribe.